Yes, y'all, welcome to DJ and Finance, where I go over my thoughts and ideas about personal finance and wealth building as I document my journey on the road to try to reach financial freedom. Now, in today's video, we're gonna go over the simple, straightforward steps on how you can start investing.
DJ Finance.
I'm Kamal, aka Swiss the DJ, aka Mr. Morrison, and thank you for tuning in today's video. Now, in today's video, we're gonna go over the steps on how you can open up your brokerage account and purchase your very first investment. Now, as simple as this process might be, you would be shocked with the amount of people I come into contact with that don't have the slightest clue. They have no idea where to start. They think it's some complex process and you need to know this and you need to know that. And you know, it can be confusing, but you know what? That's okay. The goal with today's video is to make it super simple, break it down, and hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours, have you open up your brokerage account and purchase your very first investment. Okay, y'all ready? Let's go. Step number 1, have some money set aside. I know this might come as a no-brainer to people, but you need to have money set aside so you can start investing. So whoever you bank with, make sure that you have some money set aside that's not on hold, that's ready to be withdrawn. I don't care if it's 25 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks. I don't care. Whatever you have to start is good. Just make sure you have money set aside and that's not on hold to ready to be used to start investing. Step number 2. We need to open up a brokerage account. We need to open up a brokerage account so we can use that money that you set aside to purchase your first investment. Now, you can't purchase investments with your regular banking account or checking account that you use to make purchases with every day. Now, you could open up an investment account with the regular bank that you bank with, but I can guarantee you that those fees are going to be a lot higher than you go with the other 2 options that I'm going to recommend in this video. The other 2 options are going to have much lower fees, and disclaimer, I do use both of them. Now, the 2 platforms that I'm going to recommend are Wealthsimple Trade and Questrade. And as I said before, their fees are going to be a lot cheaper than going with one of the big 6 banks. As the big 6 banks, they have a lot of physical locations, have a lot of overhead, a lot of employees, reason why they have to charge much higher fees. Now, I will put a link for both of these options, Questrade and Wealthsimple Trade, in the description of this video, and a disclaimer, I will receive a commission if you do end up signing up with one of those links, as they do help support the channel. Now, once you've picked what platform you want to start investing with, whether that be one of the big 6 traditional banks, or if you go with Questrade or Wealthsimple Trade, you're gonna go through this process of, signing up, and it's gonna ask you what type of account you want to open. And the account that you're gonna want to open is the tax-free savings account, or otherwise known as the Tfsa. Now, most people think that this account is just used for saving money, but it's not. You can actually link this to a brokerage account and actually purchase investments with it. Now, you could open up a regular brokerage account or an RRSP, but for the sake of simplicity for this video, we're just gonna stick with the Tfsa. Now, the RRSP and the Tfsa are registered accounts that offer tax incentives for Canadians. The RRSP stands for Registered Retirement Savings Plan. Now, with the RRSP, you can connect it to a brokerage account, buy investments through it, and you can defer paying taxes on this account till a later date. So for example, if somebody makes $35,000 a year and they invest $5,000 in that same year, their taxable income will be $30,000 for that specific year. So somebody could invest $5,000 a year for a long extended period of time, and that $5,000 investment that they do every year, it grows to like $1 or $2 million. Now, you'll only pay taxes on the money that you withdraw. So that big 1 or 2 million amount, you won't pay taxes on the whole amount. You just pay taxes on whatever you withdraw. So if somebody withdraws, let's say $3,000 a month from their RSP, you'll only pay taxes on that amount that you withdraw. Now, one thing with the RRSP is that if you withdraw money before the retirement age of 65, you will end up paying a penalty. The contribution limit for your RRSP is 18% of your yearly income. So if someone makes $35,000 a year, they can contribute as much as $6,300. I'm not too sure how the unused contribution limit works, but I'm gonna link a video from Brandon Beavis Investing, who goes into great detail and outlines everything about the RRSP. So I'll put a link in the description and you guys can check out that video if you want to dive in more deep. With the TFSA, the money that gets deposited into your account is known as post-tax dollars. So that means that money that you're about to invest, the taxes have already been paid on the money. So that means your RSP is used to defer taxes, while your TFSA, the taxes have already been paid on the money that you're going to use to invest. Also, in case of emergency, you can withdraw your contributions without paying any penalty. So for example, in the same year, say you contributed $3,000 and your investments grew to $6,000. You can withdraw that $3,000 without paying any penalty. And I actually believe that if you wait a year, you actually get that contribution limit back. I'm not entirely sure, but Brandon Beavis Investing has a video explaining the TFSA in great detail. So I'll put a video in the description so you guys can check it out if you want to dive in deeper. The contribution limit for the TFSA is $6,000 each year. This account was introduced in 2009, so if you haven't deposited any money into a TFSA, you can use unused contribution from previous years. I believe this account is the best account for beginners to start using for investing. If you use Questrade or Wealthsimple, you just fill out a couple of questions, and this process only takes about 10 minutes and you'll have your account set up. Step number 3 is funding your account. Once your account is set up and ready to go, it's time to put that money that you set aside and fund your brokerage account. To start investing with Questrade, you need to have a minimum of $1,000 in your account. You don't have to deposit the $1,000 all one time. You can slowly deposit the amounts until you get there, but you do need to reach that amount of $1,000 to start actually investing. Now for me, I register my Questrade account as a bill payment and transfer money that way. The money is usually there with less than 24 hours. You can link your regular accounts and transfer money that way as well. If you have less than $1,000, Wealthsimple Trade is the best option for you. You just link your regular accounts to Wealthsimple and transfer money that way. I do believe Questrade is the better platform as it has a little bit more features and a little bit more advanced, but Wealthsimple Trade is a good platform as well. If you can't decide which platform you want to go with, you can just be like me and open accounts with both platforms. All right, step number 4 is purchasing your first investment. Now, from all the research that I've done in my short time of investing, I believe for a beginner, their first purchase should be a US index exchange traded fund or ETF. And if you're unfamiliar with what an ETF is, it's pretty much just one fund with a bunch of companies and stocks within it. So for example, instead of purchasing one share or stock of Apple, you can buy an S&P 500 index ETF and it will have Apple, Netflix, Microsoft, Facebook, Tesla, and all of America's 500 biggest companies all in one fund. This is a great way for you to actually learn about companies, as you can go to the ETF information page and you can look at all the companies and stocks within the fund. I believe that an ETF is a great first purchase for a beginner because they are very passive and effective. You don't need to do a lot of research or have a lot of experience in investing. They're well diversified and good against risk as they invest in a wide range of different industries, and the fees are a lot lower than if you were to go and buy a mutual fund. Financial institutions usually charge a very small fee for arranging and putting the fund together. So for example, an S&P 500 index ETF could have management fees from 0.06 to 0.8%. So that means for every $1,000 you have invested, you're only getting charged 80 cents. The ETF that I would recommend is the Bank of Montreal S&P 500 Index ETF. Now, if you're to go on Questrade or Wealthsimple and to look up the ticker symbol for this ETF is ZSP.TO. And when I say ticker symbol, I'm just using a symbol to identify a specific stock or ETF. The S&P 500 Index ETF that I have is one with a company called Vanguard, and the ticker symbol is VFE.TO. It's pretty much the same exact fund, just with a different financial institution. Now, you can get ZSP.TO, the BMO one, for pretty much just a hair over $62. So that means for that price, you get one fund and you're investing in 500 of America's biggest companies. I believe that this is a good investment for the long term, and why I believe you won't really lose all your money with this ETF, because in order for you to lose your money with this S&P 500 ETF, the US economy would have to completely fail, and that's highly unlikely. Like the great investor Warren Buffett says, you're pretty much betting on America. Now, the S&P 500 index has had a return of 10 to 11% for the last 100 years. This is a tried and tested way for you to invest for your future for the long term. So there you have it, guys. You are now an investor. Thought it was going to be hard, right? Now, out of all the investments that I have, I make it a habit to invest in my S&P 500 Index ETF and my total US stock market ETF at least once a month. For my short time in investing, those ETFs have proved to perform well in good times and bad. I hope this helps simplify the process for you guys and will encourage you to start investing. From my experience, you feel a lot better about investing once you have some blood in the game. I remember when I was first starting, I downloaded Yahoo Finance and I had my watch list, and I was watching certain type of stocks and ETFs for about like 3 months. One of my boys who was in investing finally gave me the push that I needed and said, you know what, stop watching the stocks and start investing. And ever since that, I haven't looked back. Well, I hope that this video helped you guys and will encourage you to start investing. Until the next one, I'll see y'all later.